Welcome to another goddamn horror podcast, everybody. We are here with a special episode, so I am rolling it solo on the hosting duties here today, but we have a fantastic guest for us here today. Our guest today is a writer, director, actor, and probably the only Canadian to both marry and subsequently hunt down Samara Weaving, one of Newfoundland's finest exports. Welcome to the show, Mark O'Brien. How you doing, man?
I'm good, man. That's an intro I've never had, and maybe we'll never get again. So good to be here.
Absolutely, man. Thank you for doing the show. I really appreciate it. Love having you here. So we are here to talk about your newest movie that is going to be rolling out onto Shudder called The Voices of Our Mother. So, I just got to watch this pretty recently, and I'm a big fan of a lot of different things that are going on in this movie. So, before we get into everything, we're not going to do any spoilers on this one, but I do want you to be the one that kind of lays the groundwork for people about what this movie is.
Well, basically, the short log line is four estranged siblings return home to determine whether their mother has dementia or is possessed.
All right. Yeah.
That's pretty
That I
good.
yeah, I agree
That's
with
pretty
that
good.
100%. Yeah.
Yeah,
It's a good
thanks.
log
Okay.
line.
Yeah.
Um, so when I'm looking at your body of work, religion is kind of a thing that you have fucked with a little bit here and there in like variety of different films that you've done. So let's dig into that. Where does
Sure.
this religious stuff come from? Is this like a part of your life or is it just something you've been interested in?
It's just something I'm kind of interested in. I mean, I was raised in a Catholic environment. I wouldn't say we were super Catholic, but we used to go to church on Saturday evenings. My mom would take me and my sisters. Like my dad didn't bother to go. My dad used to be like, "The Bible's bullshit." Like he wasn't interested at all. Um, and we'd go, and to be honest, I was bored, and we kind of stopped going by the time I was like 11. So it wasn't really a part of my life, but it was like people around me were Catholic, quote unquote. You know what I mean? I don't know
Sure.
how much anyone really practiced. They probably prayed when they were scared, like, but it wasn't overly Catholic or anything. What really appeals to me is that it's just great stakes for a movie, like God and the devil and your soul and eternity. Like, I'm like, Jesus Christ, that's like the best stakes you can have. So if you have like huge stakes like that, but then make it into a small family dynamic, I think you have a recipe for something pretty cool. I also just tend to like the general like architecture of like churches and stuff. I like architecture a lot. So it's like when I go away to another city, it's like no matter what religion it is, I'm like, ooh, like a church. Like they're so old and grand and interesting. And just kind of like the general aesthetic visually, I find very appealing for film. So it's kind of like a weird roundabout way into it that interests me so much.
Nice. See, when I was younger, I was 16. I did a trip throughout Europe, and I actually got to go to the Vatican, which I'm markedly not religious. Like I'm not. I believe in somewhat spirituality, but I'm not religious really in any way, shape, or form. But when I went to the Vatican, it was like both beautiful and terrifying at the same time, because
Yeah.
like when you walk into one of those cathedrals, it's like it's this big grand thing, but also at the same time, it's like, oh, there's some fucked up stuff in here. Like it
Yeah, it's
really,
like
really is.
daunting. Like there's something I've been to the Vatican as well, and it's like this is like daunting and kind of like scary. Like Gothic things are terrifying. And and one of the weird inspirations for this movie was the idea of like all these monsters and gargoyles and goblins that are on churches. Like I just find the whole thing kind of freaky, and I just think it just is like great material for a movie, like a backdrop for a movie. I always fall into it when I see something like that in a movie. I'm like, oh, I just want to see it. And it's stone, it's cold, it's kind of sterile. Yeah, it freaks me out too, man.
There was I don't know if you saw this when you went to the Vatican, but when I went there, there was one of the cathedrals and it's escaping me the name of it, but there was somebody that was still in like a glass coffin and
Whoa.
they had been there for like years and years and years. Like it was a preserved body like in this casket.
Whoa.
And I remember I walked up to it as a kid. I'm like, okay. Like religion is not what I thought it was, and like I'm into this. Like this is, I think, probably one of the first times that me as like a youth, because I'd watched horror from like way early on, like way, way earlier than I should have, which, shout out to my parents for not watching me. But
Yeah.
like it was one of those things. But I remember walking up to that going, oh fuck, like this is okay, I'm into this. Like this is creepy and like it's crazy and it's weird. So when I started watching horror films, religious films kind of like I drew to them just in
Yeah.
general. So when I watched this one, what was really cool about it is like that internal family dynamic that you have going on. Like there's so many different things going on within that family dynamic. You've got pieces of addiction, you've got pieces of suicidal ideation, you've got pieces of infidelity, you've got all these different things. Now, how did you come up with that core family dynamic with all these little fractured pieces?
Well, I just think I have three siblings, and this is completely autobiographical. I'm joking. There's nothing like this. I'm really tight with my sisters. They're the best. But you see snippets of even great relationships where you're like, wow, what if we were like that? What if it was like this? And still over the years, like, I mean, you do argue at times, and you do kind of put labels on each other, and you're like this, well, you're like that, and you did that thing, and I remember really identifying when I saw Punch Drunk Love when Adam Sandler's character first goes home to his seven sisters and they're
Mm,
all just like talking about him to him. And I was like, wow, yeah, that's happened to me a lot too. And then I was like, that probably happens to every sibling who's in a big family, that everyone talks about you as if you're not there sometimes.
sure.
And so then it really struck me this idea of like a competitiveness sort of between two siblings, and then one kind of doing what the other one just says. And it's all pieces of things that I've probably witnessed or lived that just kind of came out naturally for the film because, in a way, the film is like it's not even a religious movie in a lot of ways because it's not even about God. It's about finding you, and it's so hard
Hmm.
to do that if you've been squashed down by a family where there's no love and there's just a lot of hatred and resentment, which always stems from the top. If you weren't raised the right way, it's really hard to put yourself together as a person, and that's why they're all kind of falling apart in different ways. And who they are naturally just kind of came out, but I just knew that I wanted them. I can't stand when I read a script and every character talks the same. They all have the same voice.
Sure.
And so I was like, these are all very different and defined people who are clearly very defined by their upbringing. Like the character I play, William, he's very much like, he runs the show. He's the oldest by like a minute or whatever. And his
Right.
twin sister depends on him for everything. And he hates that, but then he also overtakes her life. So, and then the younger brother just looks up to William and he's like, well, I just want to be like him, even though I'm not a good guy. And then the other sister just ran away because she didn't want to deal with it. So everyone's going through their own thing, which was really important to me. Um, yeah,
So I think it's great because like when you attack the family dynamic that's in this, when you say that it's not really a religious movie, that is true at its core. It's not really a religious movie, but there is parts of it that I think come through in a way that like the possession aspects of it or
of
like
course, yeah,
that kind of spiritual stuff because this is also like being a lover of religious film, it's also something that is kind of a crutch in
yeah,
religious film
yeah,
that there's so many different tropes that can come through in a religious horror film that I thought it was kind of cool that you actually subverted those. You went around them and you didn't have a whole lot of that really tropey, like, oh shit, there's a creepy thing on the ceiling, jump scare type of thing. Like, that wasn't what it was. It was really a much more atmospheric type of a film. And shout out to whoever your cinematographer was
yeah,
for the lighting and for like the way that you played with, the locations of it, because I think with movies that are like of a religious nature, there's lots of things that are like a little bit too in your face.
yeah.
Whereas with yours, like there's a lot of stuff in the background. There's things in the background, the lighting, the way that things pop like in and out, like as you're paying attention to the whole scene. Um, who is the cinematographer on this?
Scott McClellan, who also shot my first film, The Righteous. He's amazing. He's incredible. And it was really important. I mean, we shot this movie in 15 days, which is crazy.
Holy
So
shit.
yeah, so we didn't have a lot of time either, but staging means everything to me because I think it tells a story and the way people are tableaued and the way you even watch them in each room, like the way they are. Like there's a big argument scene between me and my twin sister in the movie. And it's
Hmm.
like she's sitting comfortably by the window because she knows she's going to attack. I'm sitting head of the table. the other kid is like the Martin, who's like the ne'er do well son, brother. He's like sitting on a windowsill, and Annika's in the doorway because she wants to leave. So it's just
Right.
like everything means something. When I go as an actor and a director blocks a scene and it doesn't really mean anything, it can be kind of like annoying because you're like, what's the point of this? Like, doesn't it, like, this should have symbolic nature? And then later in the film, for example, when Martin, the ne'er do well brother, he's gaining agency, and they're all gaining agency in a way. Now he's standing in the middle of the room
Yeah.
because he's like, now I'm controlling it, and maybe she's possessed. Annika's still at the doorway because she's not sure if she wants to leave or not. I'm now stressed in a more stressed position because all my shit's coming out of the shit I've done. So it's like it becomes you're becoming who you are more and more in every scene. And to go to your point about like tropes, they drive me crazy because they only last for like 30 seconds. Like then it's
Right.
over. Then that doesn't stick with you for the rest of your life. Whereas like you watch something that you're like, wow, that just made me think like a lot and I don't even know why. To me is so much more lasting and important. Film lasts forever. The movies they exist for as long as they can, which is
Hmm.
right now unending. And I just think when you make something that's just like, oh yeah, we've seen that before, it's like, what's the purpose of it? And I think those images that really stick in our head were because it got us emotionally in some sort of way.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. I think like even going back into time, like when I started watching horror, I think with me it was kind of like the same thing that a lot of people had, of a certain age where it was The Exorcist. The
Yeah,
Exorcist was probably the first horror film that I watched that I truly remember. And The Exorcist is also very well known for having, certain things that are just like, only visible for a second and you catch them and they're terrifying. But then if you fast forward to like Exorcist 3, because we don't talk about Exorcist 2, but Exorcist 3,
brilliant
that
movie by the
has,
way, Exorcist three.
yeah,
Yeah,
it has one of the best, it has probably the best jump scare
the woman
in,
with the thing walk in the hospital. Yeah,
yeah,
so good, so good.
that's one that you will stick forever. But the thing is that that is lightning in a bottle that you can't like it's so hard to recreate something that feels that way. And I think that's the dragon that a lot of filmmakers chase as far as the jump
Yeah,
scares go and those types of tropes, which is why I liked it so much that yours was grounded in a way that like the stuff that you're watching is very real. Like the
yeah,
people, that family dynamic, like you brought up Martin. This was funny to me because he went from being somebody who was like very reserved to having cocaine confidence. So
yeah,
like,
yeah, yeah,
which is
yeah,
exactly what that was.
yeah, yep,
Does a few bumps and then he's like, let's fucking talk about some shit. It's just like, oh no.
yeah, yeah,
He's gonna have ideas for a startup. This is bad.
yeah,
Um,
yeah. And he's gonna repeat them for 45 minutes straight.
so much.
Yeah,
Now, there's one scene that I wanted to bring up because it reminded me of another film in a good way. This is a positive thing. In the movie Abigail, you have Melissa Barrera's character. She comes in and she starts pointing at everybody, and she's like, "You're this person. You're this person. This is your thing." You kind of had a scene like that with the entire family, where your twin sister starts to point everybody's shit out.
yeah.
And that was kind of a thing that breaks the tension, which I think is a really cool thing. Was that something that you had like pre-planned, or was that something that kind of happened as you were writing the script, it came together organically?
That was something that I knew I wanted to come out because I do think when you're with your family, you kind of don't hold back, like because you know each other so well. There's certain things you don't want to talk about, but you don't mind looking tired or bored or being like fuck that, I don't care around your family because they know you so well. So at
Right.
a certain point, I feel like when you're really stressed and say you're with friends or people you don't know as well, you're gonna hold in those emotions because it's not polite or whatever. But with your siblings, they're gonna still be your fucking sibling. You know what I mean? If I call
Oh
my
yeah,
sister a fucking bitch and she calls me an asshole, we still love each other. We
sure.
can't unlink this. So I was like, I think they should be as vicious as possible. I remember sending the script to someone and they were like, this movie is vicious. And I was like, well, it should be because it shows how poorly they were taken care of when they were young, that look at what they've become. And now they're forced together to deal with something that they don't want to deal with. Because when I write a movie, I always think, what is the worst thing that could happen to each person at this point in time? And that's
Nice.
what's happening to them. So all their emotions are going to come out. It all is on the surface. And in a way, there are a few moments towards the end of the movie that kind of almost brings them together, and there's an understanding in a
Sure.
way because they finally talked about it. So I think that kind of stuff is so important, and even like the jump scare thing is so interesting to me because there are a few moments in there where it's like boom in the movie, but it's just from Annika's point of view of like
Yeah.
Jesus, I don't want to deal with this, and that's the thing I kept saying. It's like it's just things you don't want to deal with, and sometimes it hits you hard, and sometimes it comes out of nowhere. So it's not about scaring the audience; it was about scaring her, and more scaring her emotionally rather than like physically and viscerally.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with that 100%. Also, I like the other thing I like about this is that you take something that is, I think, a very real situation within family dynamics, is that we're a reflection of our parents.
Yeah,
And, it's like whether that's for better or worse, whether it's a tragedy or whether it's a positivity, either way, there's a part of it that we always take with us. Regardless of how much our parents were in or not in our lives, it's kind of something that follows us through the rest of our life. And that's kind of what this movie felt like. It felt like a thing that, like, at the beginning of the movie, you have the groundwork that gets laid down. But also at the same time, I do like that you don't like just lay everything out. Like there is stuff that you
yeah,
kind of have to develop your own idea of what's happening. But that is a vein that goes through the whole film. So like you really did keep that note throughout the entire thing. There's one thing I want to ask that is a spoiler-ish, but it's not a spoiler towards the ending or anything. It's a question because as a filmmaker, an actor, and a writer, what is it like writing and filming your own death scene?
um, well, I've written and filmed in my first film, The Righteous. I wrote and directed my own death scene that I acted. I don't have to think about acting anymore once I get that scene over with. It's
That is
like
true.
now I can just direct the movie. I mean, that makes it a little bit easier. Uh, it's kind of funny, even writing your own stuff anyway, because it's really freeing as an actor because sometimes a director or writer will be like, "Hey, say whatever words you want to say. Like you can say whatever you want, but it's as long as it's like this, as long as it's like what's written." Well, when you're writing your own dialogue, you're like, "Well, that's the fucking way I want to say it."
Yeah,
So,
yeah,
so this is great. And you have control over the way you see the whole thing. And I don't think every actor. A lot of people have asked me like, "Do you like directing?" Because then you have control over the thing. I'm like, yeah, but when I'm just acting. Oh, sorry, someone's trying to. I put on Do Not Disturb. Sorry, I don't know if you could not see me there for a second.
it's all good.
Um, when you're just acting, it's not my place to have that control. It doesn't work as well
Sure.
if I have that control. And the reason why a director, like the auteur theory or whatever, the reason why the director is king is because, or queen, is because they have so much more information about this movie objectively than anybody else. So when I, write myself to do anything into a movie that I'm going to direct and act in, I know how it's going to go into the whole that much better. And so if I'm a director directing another actor, they might not do it quite the way I'm thinking, and you make that work and everything. But there's something really freeing about you being the one performing it because I'm like, great, I can do this into the way I'm seeing it as an editor. I can see this the way I'm seeing all of this later down the line. So it's this weird kind of and the best direction you can give an actor is to be in a scene with them because you're setting the
Sure.
tone and good actors will just respond. And then a lot of times when I'm directing, I don't even really say anything. The first take, a couple takes, I probably don't say anything. I'm like, let's just do it, and they'll respond to you as a performer. So it's really cool, kind of interesting dynamic that once you do it, you kind of can't go back.
I love it. Well, the movie's fantastic. I could literally talk to you for an hour on this, like without,
Oh, great.
hesitation, but we don't have that kind of time. So what I'm going to do, first off, everybody needs to check out the movie as soon as it drops. It really is fantastic. But I want to run you through our lightning round questions here so that people can get to know you a little bit better on the horror side of it. This used to be called the kill list. This is now our Dawn of the Dead lightning round list. 6 questions, horror centric, answer it how you want. Question number one, Chucky or Pinhead?
Oh my God, Chucky still freaks me out too much. Pinhead. I
All
can't
right.
deal with Chucky. My daughter's obsessed with Chucky too. She's never watched it, but she's like, asks about Chucky because kids at school, and I'm like, I can't deal with this fucking Chucky shit, man. It's killing me. Let's
Dude, Chucky's the creepiest. Absolute
pinhead all day,
creepiest.
all day.
All right, pinhead all day on that one. Question number two, alien or aliens?
The eternal question. I'm an alien guy, man.
Nice.
Yeah, I'm an
Yeah.
alien guy. Where are you on that?
It depends. If I'm looking for pure horror, I'm going alien. If I'm
Yeah.
looking for quotable fun horror, I'm going for aliens.
Yes,
it kind of splits the baby on that one.
but you know what tips it over for me to Alien is I like the cinematography more.
Yeah. Yeah, it is better cinematography. It's a pure horror film. Like
It's
straight up. It
pure
is,
horror.
yeah, pure horror.
Yeah.
So, as a filmmaker, question number three, if you could remake any film in history, what would it be?
Uh, this is such a weird. You got to pick something that's not great because otherwise, like, what are we doing here? You know what I mean? 8 millimeter, the
Oh,
Joel
fuck.
Schumacher movie.
That's a good answer.
Yeah, I thought that could have been a great movie. And it's just not that. It's such a great idea. It's like a girl in a snuff film. Did they really kill her? Like, I'm like, fuck, I'm in. Like, De Palma should have directed it. You know what I mean? It would
Oh,
have.
yeah.
De
That's
Palma
a
should have directed it in 1993. Like, and we would have been, we'd all be laughing.
beautiful. That is a fantastic answer.
Yeah.
All right. Also, as a filmmaker, fourth question, kind of loaded. If you could resurrect any actor from the past to cast them, who would it be?
And they'll say yes.
Yes.
I mean, it's got to be Brando. Well, it's got to be Brando. Or, I really like John Barrymore a lot. I think John Barrymore was, sorry, not John Barrymore, John Garfield. John
Mm,
Garfield's a big fan of. I like John Barrymore too, but John Garfield. But I don't know. It's a lazy answer. But Brando or Montgomery Clift. I mean, they were the greatest.
that's why it's a fantasy answer, man. It can be an easy one. Brando's one of the
Yeah,
goats.
yeah. What am I
He's
gonna do here?
untouchable.
I want to say someone else, but I'd be lying.
That's all right. That's all right. It's what we want. We want the brutal honesty. All right,
Yeah.
we got two more questions left. The fifth question is going to be basement or attic.
Oh shit, that's great. Um, Basement. I don't like sunlight.
That's really funny. Like just
Yeah,
like fuck
I don't.
sunlight. I want to
I
be the
can't
dank
stand like.
basement.
Yeah, Dan, come on. I want to go down there and watch the game and watch some movies all night. Yeah,
Yeah.
basement.
Nice. All right, the final question is one that could literally change weekly, but I want to know what it is now. Favorite kill of all time.
Whoa. Um. Oh wow. Jesus. Um. This is a really off the wall. I mean, there's so many that I could say, and it would be great. I like a satisfying kill.
Sure.
Like, the Kill Bill kill at the end of Volume 2 is like, I liked how that happened, like just falling to the knees, and she was taught to move, and that was
Mm-hmm.
really great. Like, I'm not a big, like, I like it when it's like, fuck yeah, like you got that guy. But there's a movie called Cop with James Woods. Have you ever seen this
Oh
movie?
yeah. Yeah, yeah.
The end of that movie, he just is just like, I don't give a fuck, and just shoots the guy and it goes to black. I
Yeah.
think that was one of the most badass ends to a movie I've ever seen. I love that. I like
That's a
more and more.
fantastic one.
Yeah, isn't it great? And James Woods is on fire in that movie. Yeah, Cop. That's way off the board. You know what? That off the board answer that kind of counterbalances my Brando answer.
That's yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
absolutely. Yeah. I always say that my favorite kill changes every week, and my favorite kill this week is because I just rewatched the movie Sleepers. So my
Oh
favorite kill
yeah.
this week is Kevin Bacon's
Oh
in the
wow.
restaurant. Yeah. Because I
Oh,
was watching it, I
satisfying.
was just like, "Oh fuck, that's a really cathartic, satisfying kill right there."
It
Because
has to be satisfying.
there's that moment where Kevin Bacon just looks at him and knows he's just like, "All right, it's my time. Fuck."
Yeah.
And then
Yeah.
they do it, and then it's
That's a good
done.
choice. I
Yeah.
good, a non-horror kill is actually like they often stand out really well because of it's more about emotion sometimes.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, that's a good choice, man.
Yeah.
I know Kevin. I'm gonna tell him.
No, awesome.
I
Yeah. I'm actually homies with his son Travis. His son Travis
Oh
is
yeah,
a
he's the best.
fantastic dude. He's such a cool guy.
He's so sweet. He's a great musician. And
Phenomenal musician.
And Sosie's in my next movie that I directed. Their
Oh
daughter.
shit.
Yeah,
Oh,
so cool. We're such a great family. Yeah. Oh, that's so
very,
cool.
very cool. It's a very 6 Degrees of Kevin Bacon episode. I love it.
Oh, wow.
Oh, Mark, you are fantastic. Your movie is great. And I can't wait for people to see it. I really want to thank you for coming onto the show tonight. We will definitely have you back on the episode with the other hosts as well. But in the meantime, where can people find you on the internet and find your stuff?
On Instagram, I'm Mark O'Brien for real. Google me, you'll find lots of shit. But The Righteous is my first film, which I'm very proud of, and
It's a very
I'm
good
really
movie.
proud. Thank you very much. And I think this was a nice second film to make, building off of some of those themes. So if you like that movie, check it out. I think you'll like this one too.
Awesome. Well, Mark, thank you again very much to everybody else that's listening today. Check out all of Mark's stuff, all of the stuff he's acted in, and also the stuff he's directed. And in the meantime, start some fires and break some glass. Thank you so much.